Welcome to Laptop Radio. Today's topic is 3 ways analog artists can explore integrating AI into their practice. We have Alanna Wilcox with us. She is a fiber and AI artist. Hello, Alanna. How are you?
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Where are you based?
I am based out of Rochester, New York.
Awesome. Tell us your story.
First of all, thank you so much for having me, especially as an AI artist. I appreciate being able to share my love of the medium with you and with the listeners. But yeah, basically, I think it starts with the word artist. And for me, I think that's something that has been part of who I am, what I am, my whole life. And the idea of being an AI artist, to me, I see AI as just another medium, another tool that we as artists have access to. But, as far as where did my love of art or where did it all begin? Well, when I was little, my father was artistically inclined. He was an interior designer. He did drafting. He taught me how to draw. I had markers and crayons and things like that I would draw with him while he was doing his drafting. But my really true passion or love was actually working with fiber, believe it or not. So working with things like yarn and thread and fabric. And so when I was real little, my grandmother taught me how to crochet.
Oh,
Yeah, and I got into knitting, and I really loved being able to touch the thread, and the feeling that thread going through fabric gave me in sewing and anything that was very repetitive. So knitting, crocheting, embroidery, all of those are very repetitive movements. And I didn't know this. I was someone that was diagnosed with ADHD later on in life. And so for me, art was a way of getting out the hyperactivity, if you will, in my mind, out of my body through my hands. And so for someone that is calmed by the sensory tactile input of touching fiber and yarn and thread, it was a very calming medium for me. And so as I was going through middle school, high school, I continued to pick up more mediums within the art world. I was drawing and painting. I went to school to be an art educator. So art was really something that I've really been passionate about my whole life. But fiber was really the one medium that I loved. And I also concurrently loved computers. I grew up with Nintendo and going on the computer with like modems and dial-up and all that. I would go on bulletin boards. As I was getting into learning more about working with fiber and dyeing yarn, I was really interested in learning how could I take digital colors from hex color codes and applying them to dyes. And so I was really interested in this kind of interplay or the space between where one can take the digital and the analog and kind of fuse the two together. And so that was like my first foray, if you will, of blending the two, the digital and the analog. And as I was teaching and working in the world of art, I started to get interested again in more tech things too, drawing on an iPad, using Procreate. And about 3 years ago, I decided to leave the world of education. And in doing so, I wanted to pursue being a fiber artist full-time and also to teach full-time in the fiber arts as opposed to being in public education. And so while doing this, I learned about NFTs, and I was really interested in seeing, because of being in the education side of things, I didn't really know how to get my work into a gallery. I didn't know much about the art world in that way. But I went to a conference and I heard an NFT artist talking, and I thought, this is an interesting way. Maybe I can circumvent the galleries and get my art out in a novel way, but I'm doing fiber. So how can I integrate what I'm doing in an analog way in this digital way? And so this is where AI came in. And I was really so excited because it allowed me to think of these different ways that I could integrate fiber and technology together. So I could start off with pieces that were fiber-based, like my woven fabric, and I could use that as an initial image. So basically, for those of you that are not familiar with the different kind of phases, if you will, of AI art generation, you could start off with your own images and then superimpose words and ideas over it, and then have a different image come as an output. So that was like one way that I would do it. Another thing that I would do is I would start off with prompts or texts, and I would take those images and then use that for inspiration and then create fiber pieces based off of that. So the world of what was possible utilizing AI and going back and forth and hopscotching between the analog and the digital just opened up for me, and I just got so excited. So that's where I'm at now. And also when I was little, I grew up watching things like Nightmare Before Christmas and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So I loved claymation, I loved animations, and the idea of doing stop motion, it takes so much time, especially if you're going to do things with fiber, to make the knitted thing and then to animate the knitted thing. So right now I'm really so interested in how to create these AI animations, but give it a fiber or this tactile kind of aesthetic with fiber, but have it being AI. So that's the place of play that I'm in right now as far as exploring as an artist.
Awesome. What is your reaction when you learn about NFT and blockchain and cryptocurrency as a way that allows artists to display their art on chain and also
Yeah,
on
I mean,
FS?
yeah, no, the thing that I love about the way of presenting one's artwork this way, even if you're going to remove the sales aspect, I think that it's such a wonderful way to catalog and document your process as an artist and your growth as an artist too. And you can have so much fun in the way that you infuse the process and your development as an artist and the documentation part of it. So it's almost like this digital portfolio, if you will, that you can have and treat it in that way, this documentation of your growth. But also I love, because my background is not just in art, but also in creative writing. And I think it's interesting because when I went to NFT NYC last year and I went to this gallery where they had NFTs on display. And it was very interesting experiencing NFTs in person versus maybe how one might experience them on their phone or on their computer at home. It's a very different interactive kind of experience. And I feel like there was a disconnect between not reading the descriptions or getting the titles or really getting the full immersion that you might get from your phone or from your computer. So even the way that we consume technology and experience these NFTs is very different too, depending upon the environment that they're presented in. But in the way that I've experienced other people's artwork and getting to know them as an artist in the way that they not even just title their pieces, but the stories that they put behind it, the way that they present the ideas and the concepts, the way that they create and curate collections, all of it is just such a different way than just an artist saying, okay, this is 5 pieces that I made that they look like they go together, and this is an addition, and this is an addition. So I really love the way that the technology allows an artist to take different mediums, if you will, whether it's the still image, the video, the music, all of these different kind of components, as well as text, and fuse them together in this little ball, this little, like a little electric ball, this package, and present it in such a way that it allows someone to not only collect it as far as having this digital asset or this digital token, but it's also the fact that they're able to collect and support you as an artist through your growth in this very tangible, real-time way as well. And so to me, I think that's just such a cool, I don't know, just it's a very cool thing to be able to experience it as an artist. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So the title is 3 ways analog artists can explore integrating AI into their practice. What are the 3 ways?
Okay, so yeah, so I just gave you a little bit earlier. So I said one of the ways that I first really was excited to learn about using AI was taking pictures of the process when I take fiber and I turn it into yarn. There's many different stages. One of the suggestions that I presented to people at this talk that I gave at NFT NYC. So if any of you that are listening would like to see the presentation, if you will, if you weren't able to attend, I did put it up on YouTube. I'm happy to share the link with you as well for any of the listeners that would like to be able to watch it. But one of the things that I presented was to document your process. Even if you're a ceramicist, okay, you can take pictures of the different parts of the process that you really enjoy. Let's say you really enjoy getting the clay ready, whatever part of it is you enjoy, and then you can take those pieces, those pictures, and then run them through the AI using different words. Maybe it was slated to be a bowl or a vessel or something like that, but you don't have to necessarily use those words. You can use descriptor words of what the experience of using clay feels like to you, or whatever you want. You're the artist here. But basically taking pictures of the physical things that you enjoy as a creator and then using that as your initial image or your starting image to then generate new artwork. So that would be one way you could do it. But conversely, if you are an artist that makes physical pieces, whatever medium you choose, this is one thing that I think is really huge, because I think a lot of times, especially in today's world, more and more, stress is a really big thing that can prevent us as creatives, as artists, from creating. We can get these blocks because of not having access to these parts of ourselves if we're under stress, to be able to think and just be open to the possibilities of life, to be able to create. So when we're presented with situations where maybe we have to create, we have a deadline, we have to do something, but we just don't have the inspiration, what I love about AI is that you can put in certain parameters and it can help give you ideas of where to jump off with. Just like as a writer, like if you're a poet, sometimes you can be given prompts or different ideas. If I said to you, okay, write a story about blank, that would be very difficult. But if I said, write a story about your favorite vacation or a favorite memory on a vacation, now I've narrowed it down so that it makes it easier for you to be creative. And so if you go using AI and you say, okay, I need to do something like a project where I need to come up with an installation. It needs to be inside of a museum. The lighting is really poor, so this has to be a dimly lit room. It's a 2-foot story. I want to use fabric. Give me ideas of what I can do. And so based off of that, I could start refining it and think about what's really physically possible based off of this visual virtual sketch that the AI is helping me with. So that was really awesome as a tool to help me sketch out ideas and to consider what is possible. That would just be one suggestion. But the other thing too is that you have so many rich resources as an artist being familiar with your medium. So as a photographer, especially, you would know so many words about the camera angles, the lighting scenarios, or even a ceramicist, you'll know about textural words. So you can bring your knowledge of your medium into AI and describe scenarios and situations that are very unique to that medium, but because of how you create your work in the physical world, the way you describe that is going to be very unique then in the visuals that the AI produces. But I think really what's going to set people apart is not going to be their style necessarily, because a person could easily then say, okay, I want you to copy this person's style. But where the real rubber hitting the road, or where you're going to really be able to see, I want to say like a true artist, but where you're going to really see the artistry coming through is where the ideas are at. And so I think when you're able to capture the idea that you are trying to communicate as a human and have that be a theme in your work, then it doesn't matter whether it's rendered as a painting or whether it's rendered in a photograph or whether the AI helps you render it, because now it's the concept or the idea that's going through you. And so those are the ways I believe that as an artist, if you're more familiar with traditional mediums and you're a little bit maybe excited or a little bit scared about testing out AI and how you could utilize it in your practice, I hope that those 3 ways might help you feel a little bit more confident.
Awesome. Do you feel like you're a better artist because of AI, or do you feel like AI has just enhanced your work?
I think when you say a better artist, it depends on what you're asking me specifically. So if you're talking about craftsmanship and the final product that I'm able to produce, that is a skill, like you're assessing the skill or the quality of the product that I'm putting out. But as a better artist, if you're talking about concepts and ideas, then that's more about creativity. And so I think the AI, in some ways, it can actually help you in both, but it can also hinder you in both. And I think as the user of AI, it's like someone that uses a microwave or that uses things that can enhance your cooking skills. Are you a better chef because you can now melt butter faster in the microwave? Yes, you can use that as a tool. But just because you're using the microwave, how you use the butter and how much of the butter you use and all of that, it's going to change the recipe. So you have to know what butter is and how it integrates into the food and all of that. So the same thing as an artist. I have to know what it is that I'm trying to communicate as an idea. If I'm trying to elicit an emotional response in a viewer where I want them to have a really strong emotional response, then I have to be able to tell a story, or I have to be able to depict an image in such a way that is going to do that. And I can tell the AI, okay, create an image of a sad scene. but they're not going to know what is going to pull on the heartstrings of a human. They may put a picture of a person looking sad in the corner or dejected. To me, I just imagine the scene from Dumbo and like the mother elephant's trunk and the baby elephant's trunk, and it's like they're grasping for each other. I'm getting goosebumps just describing that. But the idea of the baby elephant and the mother elephant not being able to be with each other, and then just that concept or that idea, how I execute that, I could do with watercolor, I could do that with AI. Now it's not the tool, but it's what is that image that I'm trying to present to you to make you have that emotion. Yeah. And so I think that the AI can help you render these ideas better, but really the footwork comes in for artists using AI to actually go and research and learn about all of the art vocabulary words. So the better of a vocabulary you have as an AI artist, when you know all the mediums, when you know all of the art techniques, when you know all of the art terms, and that's when you get better. Not because you're saying put in a picture that's going to make someone have strong emotions.
As an artist and a storyteller, what comes first and what inspired that story?
I think life. Life inspires art. Yeah, art and life inspire each other. So I definitely think that, like I said earlier, but especially having ADHD, that I feel like sometimes the way that I get thoughts out of my head or things that might feel like they're festering up inside of me. Some people exercise, they run, they do physical things to get it out. So for me, it's through creation. So that's just like my personal process. But I think, yeah, just being able to get it out, the story, and making it so that a person that sees the story, that there's some human element underneath it that people can relate to. So even if I'm tapping into something that's very personal, I'm still trying to make it where it's very relatable. And so it's that kind of spectrum of super personal and universal, while allowing the viewer or the person to walk away with their own interpretation or their own experience from it. Even though I poured my guts into it, like someone can still have their own experience from it. They can still relate to it. And I think those are the pieces that are the strongest, I think.
If you're an artist or you're interested in creating AI art, where would someone start?
There's tons of free apps or apps. It's pretty low cost to generate an image. So I know that I started with ones like Midjourney. Most people have heard of that one, with Wombo, AI, Dream. There's Dolly. There's so many different ones. I know that there's a gentleman that goes by Pharmapsychotic, and he has a wonderful website with a list of all of the different AI tools and websites that you can use. I know we all have these like funny nicknames and names in Web3 in the tech world. But yeah, so I definitely think that there are resources that are available. One of the things that I thought was interesting with NFTs was that I'm one of those people that comes from the Facebook, Instagram art world. And so when you jump into the NFT space, now you're Twitter, Discord, and NFTs, so it's like a whole new kind of realm. But there's tons of Discords for all of the tech people. I'm sure that listening to this, there's lots of Discords you can jump into. And yeah, there's lots of bots and things like that you can use to generate AI.
Awesome. And is there anything you want to share that I have not asked you?
Just, you know what it is? I really would hope that people would walk away from this not necessarily thinking that AI art is good or bad, or that AI artists are good or bad. Obviously, those are judgments. But what I really hope that people walk away from this is knowing a couple of things. Is the first is that AI is a tool, okay? It's not going to be a job stealer, in the sense that if you are a creative person and you have creative ideas, then learn about it and learn how you can use it to help yourself. If you're someone that is learning about a camera for the first time, yeah, of course you can see it as a job killer. But if you learn how to use a camera, you can then be creative in how you integrate it into your practice. So it doesn't have to be the thing that ends you. Maybe it ends the way you do things, but also endings don't necessarily mean bad things. You can have a breakup and then you find someone that treats you even better and you love them even more, and all. So where you're at now, maybe you got laid off and now you're in a better job. So bad things can lead to good things. It doesn't always have to be this bad ending. But also that I really hope that people are open-minded enough to just try it and play with it and explore it, because I think once you see what's possible, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. And I think that in this day and age, with all of the burdens and the weight of the world on everyone's shoulders, we could all use a little bit more fun, a little bit more joy in our lives. And I understand that there might be some people that maybe don't understand how the technology works, or that they feel like having their artwork being part of a database might not be something that they're okay with. And I totally respect that there are people that have differing of opinions on this, and I get that. But I do think that this world could definitely use a little bit more fun. And so I encourage you, if you've never tried it before and you're against it, just try it. Humor me, try it. And if you have any questions, I'm always happy to help people on their path to trying it as well.
Awesome. And what is one piece of advice that you have for the community?
One piece of advice, whatever medium you choose to try as an artist, is that the biggest thing is self-talk. And so what you tell yourself is the most important thing. So if you tell yourself you can't do something, if you say, oh, I can't do an animation, or, oh, I can't understand Python, or I can't do whatever, then you won't be able to. But if you say to yourself, if you change the language, if you flip the script and you say, maybe I can't do this now, but I'm going to keep trying, or I'm going to keep working at it, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. So just try to have that positive self-talk. And I started with my animations last October. In 2022, I did my first Stable Diffusion animation. It was pretty rough. I would say that they're getting better, I'm sure, compared to most people that are professionally trained with smooth video, graphic editing backgrounds and all of that, looking at what I'm doing, and they could definitely tell that it's amateurish. The beautiful thing that I think about my artwork is that because I wasn't quote unquote classically trained as a video editor, there's almost this, I don't want to say naiveness, but there's almost an innocent, childlike quality to my work, but because of the craftsmanship part, because I'm still learning, but the concepts of it are very relatable as an adult. So I think it's early on South Park. Just give me a little bit more time and I'm going to get there. But I'm not counting myself out, because everyone knows the first few episodes of The Simpsons, the first few episodes of South Park, all of those very first few animation episodes, those are the best ones.
She's been humble. Her work is beautiful.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Alanna.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.